Michel, heb jij de opname aangezet? Wie heeft dat gedaan?
Ja, dat heb ik zojuist gedaan, Harry. Ja.
Oké, prima.
Ja, hij loopt. Ja.
Marjan van der Horst, jij wil vertaling aan hebben. Kun je je microfoon even aanzetten, Marjan?
Ja? Hoor je me nou?
Ja, ik hoor je nou.
Oké.
Zit jij op je iPad weer of op je computer?
Op een computer.
Ja, je moet het wereldbolletje opzoeken. Daar staat Interpretation staat erbij. Onder in dat...
Oh ja, ik zie het, ja.
Nou, als je daarop klikt, zet je hem op Nederlands.
Oh ja, goed.
Nou, dat is alles.
Dat is alles.
Ja.
Nou, dankjewel.
Oké.
Ja, ik hoor jullie allemaal. Fijn, dankjewel.
Dear Geshe, dear all, beste vrienden van Jewel Heart, we zijn weer terug. We are all back here.
Okay.
I will be very happy to stop talking and give the microphone to you, Geshe.
Okay.
Please continue your wonderful teaching.
Okay. So the distinctive feature between Buddhism and other religions is that in the case of Buddhism, the teacher is without fault. Now, when I say teacher is without fault, I'm not talking about ordinary teachers, but the founder, the Buddha. Buddha is without fault and possesses all the qualities. And his special distinctive feature is he taught the very profound meaning of dependent origination, Pratit Samutpad. Okay. And his teaching is a teaching based on non-violence. Non-violence, as you know, is not just absence of violence, but active practice of compassion. Therefore, in one of his sutras, the Buddha said, if you have one practice in the palm of your hand, you have all the practices in the palm of your hand. And what is that practice? Great compassion. If you genuinely have great compassion, how can you exploit others? How can you cheat others? How can you kill others? All wrong activities will naturally cease if you have genuine compassion to other sentient beings. Because compassion means how nice if all sentient beings are without suffering. And if you have that genuine mind, how can you create suffering on others? So that is the uniqueness of the Buddha's teaching. Then in terms of the Buddhist view or Buddhist philosophy, the philosophy is that all the Buddhist standard systems, they don't accept a person which is permanent, unitary, and independent. Because the person, so-called person, is dependent on its psychophysical aggregates. It is impermanent, right? Well, not unitary in the sense that it has many parts. And then more importantly, when you embrace the Mahayana school of thought, then whether it's object or the person, nothing has inherent independent existence. And also the view, unique Buddhist view, can be explained in terms of accepting the Four Seals. And also the Buddhist meditation is unique in the sense the purpose of meditation is to uproot the cycle of existence and to achieve Nirvana, liberation. And in the Mahayana school of thought, it is becoming Buddha to get completely enlightened. So in terms of conduct, the distinctive mark between Buddhist and non-Buddhist is that in the case of Buddhism, Buddhists, we take refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. The others don't take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And especially if you are a follower of Mahayana teaching, then the distinctive feature is that you cultivate bodhicitta, the wish to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, which is not taught in any other religion in the world. Right? So therefore, today we are discussing this Four Seals. These are called Four Seals because it is like a king's seal. When the king, passes a decree and sets his seal, then everybody has to follow it. So like that, these are four seals, meaning that if you claim yourself as a Buddhist, especially in terms of your philosophical view, then you must follow these four seals. And that is why he taught, as I said, he taught this repeatedly throughout his life. And we have already briefly discussed the meaning of all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. And as I said, that one of the first teachings that the Buddha gave us all on impermanence, and one of the last teachings that he gave us on impermanence. Now, if you are somebody who really has this very clear understanding of impermanence, your attachment will cease. Your grasping will go away. Because everything is transient, impermanent. And more importantly, what is the benefit of grasping on it? What is the purpose of developing attachment and obsession to it? It will only make you get more stuck in the quagmire of samsara. You can enjoy things, but without attachment, without craving, without grasping. That is the path that he taught. All conditioned phenomena impermanent. Now, this is a huge implication. We neither have the time nor I have the knowledge to explain in length and breadth. But if you spend more time just thinking about all conditioned things are impermanent, I'm 100% sure your life will completely change. For example, let me give you this one example. For example, if you have this very good understanding of all conditioned phenomena impermanent, now when we talk about all conditioned things are impermanent, yes, everything outside, inside, which is conditioned is impermanent. But as a practitioner, we are not talking about impermanence of tree or mountain, not so much about that. We should primarily talk about one's own life. This life itself is conditioned, produced by causes and conditions. Therefore, it is going to go. Not only it is day by day changing, not only it is changing momentarily, but at the end of the day, you will die. That you cannot stop. Now, for this change, there may be some external causes, right? For example, if you had an accident and other things, take the wrong food, things like that. That may quicken the process of your death. That is there. But even otherwise, the very cause which make you take birth in this samsara, their very cause, the birth itself is the cause for the death. And we don't understand that. For birth, we are happy and everybody says, happy birthday. We celebrate happy birthday. It was only Buddha perhaps who said birth is suffering. Right? You remember that? Birth is suffering, death is suffering, sickness is suffering, old age is suffering. That is what he said. But ordinarily, we don't take birth as suffering. We celebrate birth, happy birthday. But again, when I say this, I'm not saying don't celebrate happy birthday. You can celebrate happy birthday in a different sense. But still, we should have this bigger understanding that the birth itself is the cause for death. It's like a butter lamp. The wick in the butter lamp and the oil that you put in the butter lamp. These are causes for the butter lamp to burn. But how long it is going to burn? Even if there is no external wind, nothing, right? But still, as and when the oil runs out, the oil in the wick runs out, it will die, right? So we, in our human life also, we have a span, extent to which we can live and not beyond that. This is similar to everything. Tree, it has its own span of life. Rocks have their span of life. Human beings have their span of life. So at the end of the day, what is being produced will go. This law of nature. Normally, when you meet your friends, you feel happy, right? Never realizing about the suffering of separation. But that meeting itself is the cause for separation. If you had not met, you don't have to suffer from separation, be it your husband, wife, because you met, then you will also have to experience the suffering of separation. Now, what is the benefit of understanding this? The benefit of understanding this is tremendous. For example, if you have this clear realization that you are going to die and your near and dear ones are going to die, and when are you going to die? When your near and dear ones are going to die, you have no sense. It can come anytime, right? When you have a clear-cut understanding of that, then you will see the importance of today. Today that you are living. Today your beloved friends are living. So therefore, today you must be nice to yourself. You must be nice to all your friends, relatives. Meaning that while you are alive, you must be nice to everybody. So that when you die and your friends and beloved ones go, you have nothing to regret because you lived so well. You made them walk the right path. They accumulated positive karma. So their next birth, you may or may not know, but they will have a good rebirth. Nothing to regret. But when we don't know this, then we were living together, we don't live nicely, we fight. We are not so nice to each other. We get divorced and whatever, And when somebody dies, gets separated, then you shed your crocodile tear. I call it crocodile tear, useless cry and shedding tears. You don't have to do that. So that way, what I'm saying is all majority of the sufferings that we are experiencing are unnecessary suffering. Unnecessary suffering means if you have understood the law of nature, the process of life and things properly, right? Then there is nothing to cry, nothing to weep, nothing to feel sorry. So death, including death is nothing to be worried, but something to be understood. So all facets of reality are something to be understood, but nothing to be worried. And when we don't understand that, when we have not understood that, then we have to worry because we have no idea what will happen, right? So therefore, it is really important to develop a very penetrative insight into this fact, all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Now to make the matter worse, the second line, all contaminated phenomena are in the nature of suffering. All conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Okay, that is okay. Everybody is impermanent. All things are impermanent. But to make a matter worse, all contaminated phenomena are in the nature of suffering. Not only all conditioned phenomena are impermanent, but when we look at those phenomena, we see it out of negative emotions. We see it out of attachment. We see it out of anger. So therefore, we are contaminating them. Whether it's a person or an object, we make connection in relation to this object, these people, with negative emotions. So I like this word very much. All contaminated phenomena. Who contaminates these phenomena? Us, the sentient beings. I mean, clear example is the pollution that we are seeing now everywhere in big cities. Contamination, another word for pollution and contamination. Who created this? Human beings. It's not created by lions and tigers. Lions and tigers, they may be ferocious, but they don't have, different vehicles to produce those pollutions. It's all human invention, right? So contamination is done by sentient beings in general, and especially human beings. Contamination, the one that contaminates everything is not just the external pollution, but the internal pollution, the pollution of negative emotions. The external pollution and contamination also comes through internal pollution. A case in point is COVID-19. COVID-19. Now let me demonstrate this example very clearly. COVID-19, as I already said, primarily came through human misadventure with animals, human mistreatment of animals. That's 100% sure. So in a way, we deserve that. Now, not only that, when it is self-evident and clear that so many people are dying and being killed by this COVID-19, still there are stubborn, short-sighted, stupid people who say this is all fake. This is all for business propaganda, so they don't take vaccine. I can understand that you take your stand and analyze and take your stand. That is, of course, human right. But when you have this clear example of millions dying, it may also be true that some business people are making profit out of it. I'm saying this is not true. It may be there. But when millions are dying, and with the vaccine, when millions are recovering, that's not in one country, that's in all countries. Now, still, if you say this is fake and don't take vaccination until you yourself get hospitalized. Now, it is not only endangering yourself, also endangering everybody else. That's the problem. This is not just COVID-19. That's the problem in the human society. There are many people, good people, who want to do good things, but there are few bad people who do the other way around and create problems in the society. Okay? I may be wrong, but this is what I think. I'm not saying that people who didn't take vaccine, they are bad or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, when there is a clear evidence, then don't go against the evident facts. Right? So this is a clear example how ignorant human beings are. Even when things are really obvious, then because of their political view or their religious view, due to which they refuse to do many things. So therefore, in Buddhism, we say, be liberal. Your mind should not be biased. In the name of religion, your mind should not be biased. Because the Buddha clearly said, if your mind is lopsided, if it is biased, you can never experience peace. If your mind is biased, you can never experience peace. If you read Chandrakirti's Entering the Middle Way, Madhyamika Avatara, there Chandrakirti says that if you develop attachment to your philosophical or religious view and hatred towards others' religious view and philosophy, then that is the source of conflict. That is the source of conflict. So in today's world, I think, today's scientific world, I think it's really, really important to have a liberal, open view. Listen to others. Don't just keep on saying that my religion is best, this is the only thing, the rest are, bad. Don't say that. Don't make hurried conclusions. We have two eyes, 2 ears, only one mouth. Meaning, Speak less. Listen more. See more. See the truth more. Listen to the truth more. Only then you should speak. Nature has, if you study our own, physiology, structure of your body, you'll find that human beings are basically non-violent beings. Look at the long arms. The long arms are good for hugging, not for hitting. Long arms with the nice fingers, good for hugging, not for hitting. If it is for hitting, then right from the beginning, we should just get a fist, no fingers, which will be good for hitting. Then look at our teeth. This teeth is of no use at all for preying or killing other animals like tigers and lions do. If we try to do, all our teeth will fall out. We'll not be able to kill even one animal. Then look at the nails in the finger. It's also not very strong to kill other animals. Then why is human beings are creating so much problem in the world? Physically, we don't have those destructive elements, but our mind is so intelligent, so sharp, as I said right in the beginning. But when this intelligent mind is used in the wrong way, then we create nuclear bombs, missiles, many awful destructive weapons. Then also we invent wrong philosophy. And based on following the wrong philosophy, we become fundamentalists or fanatics. That's the problem. So therefore, today more and more people are talking not so much about religion, they are talking about spirituality. More and more people now are talking about secularism. That's not necessarily against religion, but they're talking about something that is universal, that's applicable to everyone. Loving kindness. Everybody needs loving kindness. Tolerance and patience. Everybody needs tolerance and patience. So we need to make this fundamental human good qualities spread around the world and learn to live harmoniously. And there also this understanding of conditioned phenomena, impermanence, is so important, right? Because we have a very short life. And what are you going to do with this short life? Only to kill and create disunity among other people? And all this disunity and division that we are creating in the world because of short sight and narrow-mindedness. You make discrimination on color, white or black or yellow, whatever. You make discrimination between men and women, right? You make discrimination between this nation, that nation. All these unnecessary divisions and segregations that we are doing clearly show our tribal mentality, our narrow-mindedness. So that's why teaching on shunyata, emptiness, which is the third point, is so important, right? So let me conclude this second point, all contaminated phenomena in the nature of suffering. So to make a long story short, this means that it is primarily the negative emotions within us which is the source of suffering, not just change. Number one, there is change. Anything that is conditioned is impermanent, there is a change. Now, with that flow of change, to make the matter worse, you bring about this change through your negative emotions. You let the negative emotions become a tool for your change. Then the result is obviously suffering. So this is really talking about flow with the time. Flow with the time is, in general, there is this flow that impermanent, which not necessarily bad, not necessarily good. Impermanent means flexibility, the possibility to change. Now, if you use this flexibility, this possibility of change, by accumulating negative emotions, then the change will be negative and the result will be suffering. So therefore, all contaminated phenomena are in the nature of suffering, meaning that if it is an object, the object itself is not suffering, but it produces suffering because of your way of looking at it because of your attachment. Now, for example, this cup that I'm using right now, if there is one shop which is full of this cup, this kind of cups, when it's in the shelf in that shop, I don't have any attachment or very less attachment. But when I paid the money and say this is my cup, then you develop this attachment. Then if somebody breaks this cup, you will be angry. You will be very violent. You will be disturbed. But when that cup, same cup in the shelf, if it breaks, you will have no concern because it's not your cup. It's the cup of the shopkeeper. So the shopkeeper will be worried, not you. So in both of these cases, you worried because you have developed this attachment to the cup. If you don't have that attachment, even if the cup breaks, no problem. It is something that has to break with this or that reason. So it's okay. And also your feeling upset is not going to make the broken cup back to life. Right? So from this, it is saying that all contaminated phenomena are in the nature of suffering. Anything that is produced by negative emotions, be it anger, be it jealousy, be it hatred, there are 100,000 negative emotions that produces suffering. So negative emotion means any emotion which when arises in your mind, makes your mind completely disturbed, that is negative emotion. Any mind which when arises in your mind, leaves you completely disturbed, that emotion is a negative emotion. Now take the example of anger. When anger arises, it completely disturbs you, right? When your breathing becomes difficult, right? And there is nobody who says, today I was very angry, so I enjoyed the day, right? So meaning that, and also right in the morning, there's nobody who gets up in the morning and saying that, making a plan saying that today I will get angry and fight with somebody. No, nobody makes that plan because you have some inkling of idea, some sense that anger is not good. But when you actually walk with people, especially not so nice people, then your anger flare, your emotion flares out, you get angry and pick up a fight with that person, sometimes even physical beating. Then in the evening, when you return home and reflect back and realize that you fought with this person, you got very angry, okay? But then you will never say that I was very angry today, I fought with this person, so I really enjoyed the day. Oh. So in this way, you should see the drawbacks of all these negative emotions. Like for example, anger. Everybody, men, women, we want to be a presentable person, a beautiful looking woman, a handsome looking person, man. Therefore, we put on all these cosmetics, also ornaments, right? And also comb your hair, things like that. But after decorating yourself, ornament yourself with even the gold rings and things like that, then after that you get angry. Are you handsome now? Are you beautiful now? All this external makeup that you did has no sense. No sense, right? So therefore, what the Buddha was teaching was, the one that make you really handsome and beautiful is not the external makeups, ornaments, but the internal ornaments of loving kindness and compassion. How? I was reading in a sutra which says that, for example, if you remain peaceful and calm and develop loving kindness, compassion, then there will be proper flow of your energy. The energy circulation throughout your body will be good, which makes you healthy. Then with the flow of energy, there is a proper circulation of blood. And the circulation of blood will also go into your face, and your face will become radiant. You become handsome, you become beautiful. Now, when you are mentally disturbed, depressed, lonely, unhappy, but just to pretend you want to look nice, so you decorate. And these days, people wear very, very funny things, so-called fashion, They wear torn out pants, showing their legs or muscles or whatever, you know. So all kind of in the name of freedom, you see. So I'm nobody to, I'm not saying you can't do, I have no right to say that, but what I'm saying is, before you want to do Dharma practice, become a sensible human being who is able to take care of one's body, who is able to take care of one's mind, one who is able to take things calmly, and one who is peaceful and rested. That's important, right? If your 2 feet are not on the ground, if your 2 feet are not firmly on the ground, you cannot dance moving your head and hand. If you do that, you will fall, right? So first you have this common sense moral ethics as a foundation to develop many of these higher spiritual grounds and paths, right? So therefore, negative, as a practitioner, negative emotions should be seen as our enemy number one. What is enemy? Who is enemy? Enemy is one who harms you, harms your property, who harms your name, fame, harms your relatives and things like that. Negative emotions does this exactly. If you develop this negative emotions, it will harm you, it will harm your health, it will harm your relatives. Because when you have negative emotion, you cannot live in harmony, in harmony with anybody, right? So negative emotions are the sworn enemy number one. Comparing to this negative emotions, the external enemy is nothing. External enemy is outside of you, external. So you have some idea where they are, when they are coming, how to fight, how to run away. If you can't run, then at least fall at their feet and say, please save my life. I will do whatever you do. Probably they will treat you a little bit nicer. They will, spare your life. At least we have this recognition they are our enemy. You distance yourself. Now with the negative emotions, because the negative emotions are within you, and we human beings have this tendency of seeing everything with you as something good. When somebody gets angry, you say, oh, she is angry, not good. But when you get angry, then you say, there is a justification. There is a reason for me to get angry. You defend your anger. I sometimes jokingly call it smelly socks. When it is the smelly socks when it is your smelly socks, it doesn't smell bad to you. You might even lift it up to your nose and smell it to see whether it's smelly or not. But when it is the socks of other people, even if it is a brand new socks, you might, don't touch it. This is socks, This shows a bit of our obsession with oneself. So all these negative emotions that is there within oneself, we never took notice of these negative emotions. We took it as usual visitors, friendly visitors. These negative emotions have been visiting us. Our doors are open, windows are open. They come, steal all our good qualities. They go away. There's no guardian, no sentry, nothing. So that's why we are looted all the time by these negative emotions. All your positive emotions are looted. All your peace, happiness, harmony, everything is destroyed and looted by these negative emotions. But nobody is checking that. So now through Dharma practice, you need to firmly and strongly tell the negative emotions, enough is enough. Gone are the days when you cheated me, when you looted me. Now I know who you are. You should personify them. Now I know who you are. So you put your God. Mindfulness is your God. Conscientiousness is your God. Heedfulness is your God. Put them and see. Put the spy camera. I can say spy camera of mindfulness or conscientiousness, right? And heedfulness. And then check who is coming, who is going, right? So if negative emotions are coming, then you should say, no, I don't want to see you. If compassion is coming, you should go and welcome my dear compassion. I'm so sorry. I did not pay much attention to you in the before. Now I know you are so precious, so important. Please come. Compassion, please come. Loving kindness, please come. Wisdom, understanding, shunyata, please come. Stay in the headquarters of our mind. You should be the boss. We have all these problems because in the headquarters of our mind, we have self-cherishing and self-grasping, the two worst general of the enemy army. They have captured our headquarters of the mind, and nobody is challenging them until now. So they are resting peacefully with their legs outstretched and sipping cup of coffee or tea, whatever, or worst wine, things like that. So that's why we have the problem. Now you need to say enough is enough. Now you should, do this proper election and fight this election between the positive emotions and negative emotions. Strengthen the positive emotions, dethrone the negative emotions, and enthrone the positive emotions, especially wisdom, understanding, emptiness, and bodhicitta. This should be your leader. This should be your CEO. This should be your boss. That is the process of doing the Dharma practice. So what I was saying was, all contaminated phenomena are in the nature of suffering. Suffering comes because of negative emotions. And the root of negative emotion is ignorance. Ignorance here is not just lack of knowledge, but misconception of reality. The reality, things are interdependent. There's nothing that has inherent independent existence. But your confused, bewildered, ignorant mind sees things as having inherent independent existence. And because of this, because of seeing things as having inherent independent existence, you develop all other negative emotions. For example, when you see your loving friend, you tend to see your loving friend not only as loving, but 100% nice. This is my friend, She's so nice, he's so nice, 100% nice. So because of your attachment, because of your seeing things as having inherent existence, because of ignorance, because of your liking, because of your mental projection, you don't see any fault in that person. You see this person embodiment of all the good things. When you see your enemy, the enemy also has some good qualities. But because you don't like that enemy, you tend to see that enemy as 100% horrible, 100% incorrigible, 100% negative. So therefore people think that enemy must be destroyed by nuclear bombs. There's no room for negotiation and dialogue. This is what is happening today in the world. Whereas if you calmly sit down and think carefully, then both the side has good qualities, bad qualities. But when you see things, good things, bad things as having inherent independent existence, then you see one side as 100% good, another side as 100% negative. That's the problem. So therefore, in order to remove this contaminated phenomena, which is the source of suffering, you need to see the reality. The reality is there's nothing that has inherent independent existence. Therefore, the third line says, all phenomena are empty and selfless. All phenomena are empty and selfless means that there is nothing that has inherent independent existence. There is a self. Selfless does not mean there is no self. There is a self. But that self has a conventional existence, nominal existence. There is no self that has inherent independent existence. So that's the meaning of all phenomena are empty and selfless. So that is the most important thing for you to understand. Because all other negative emotions, as I said, arises from this misconception of the reality. Therefore, understanding shunyata is so important. Shunyata, emptiness. Many people ask the question, what is the benefit of understanding emptiness? The benefit of understanding emptiness is you are able to see the ultimate reality, and because of having seen that ultimate reality, you will not get obsessed with anything. Your grasping and craving will cease. Your tight hold of object will be loosened. Then you become free. You're not free because you have this tendency to hold everything, tightly. Right? Buddha was asked by somebody saying, what is the best example of emptiness? How should I understand emptiness? What is the best example? Then the Buddha answered by saying, the best way to understand emptiness is understanding the space. That's the best example. What is space? Space is something that's merely free from any obstruction. That's why aeroplanes can fly, birds can fly, and so forth. But unlike the solid ground, the good thing with the space is, generally speaking, okay, now the stupid people are trying to occupy the space, but generally speaking, space is for everybody. The bird, for example, the innocent bird, unlike human beings, the innocent birds, not one bird, but many birds, they fly in the space. This way, that way, all the time they frequent and travel on the space. But none of these bird thinks, okay, I've been flying in this space for a long time, so now I will build my nest in the space. Nobody thinks like that because it is impossible to build a nest in the space. So therefore, they don't develop grasping to any particular portion of the space, saying, this is my home, this is my nest. So similarly, if you understand shunyata, you will not develop that grasping. Okay, so therefore, all phenomena are empty and selfless. That is so important to remove ignorance. Now, once you develop this positive counterforce, the wisdom that understands emptiness and selflessness, then you can use this as a positive counterforce, a very strong positive counterforce to remove that ignorance. And once you eradicate ignorance, then all other negative emotions will cease, and then the sufferings will cease, because sufferings come from our wrong actions. Wrong actions come from negative emotions. Negative emotions in turn come from ignorance. So once the root of the ignorance, the root of the negative emotions and contaminated actions cease, then sufferings will cease. Therefore, I think it was Nagarjuna who said, actions and contaminated contaminated actions and afflict emotions arise from conceptions. Conception here means seeing things as having inherent existence. Right? So those ordinary conceptions arise because of discursive thought of seeing things as having inherent existence. And that fabrication, that discursive thought of seeing things as having inherent existence can be eliminated, can be pacified by the understanding of shunyata. That's what Nagarjuna said. So therefore, once you completely uproot ignorance, then that is called liberation, Nirvana. So Nirvana is not a particular physical place, although in some non-Buddhist philosophical schools, they talk about heaven or liberation as a particular place. But in Buddhism, no, it is state of mind. When your mind has completely eliminated negative emotions, then you actualize that Nirvana, that liberation. So it is a state of mind. Right? And once you achieve that, then there is no coming back. You gain permanent happiness. Then you can really do a long holiday. Then you can really relax. Okay? Then you have not much work for yourself. Now, ordinarily in today's world, people work so hard to get money or whatever, right? But that hard work is mainly for oneself, just one person, just one family. And we get very tired. Right? But when you achieve that liberation, then you don't have to do any work for yourself. But still, if you're bodhisattva, then you have more work for others. But then the beauty with this thing is, because in ordinary case, many of the works you do, you may be doing that reluctantly because there is money forthcoming. You need money. You may not. I personally met many people who said, Geshe-la, I really fed up with this work, but there is no other choice, no other alternative. What should I do? Many people ask me this question. So you reluctantly work. But when you become a bodhisattva, you happily do those things. What we do happily, voluntarily, doesn't make us tired. What we do with compassion, we don't get tired. What we do reluctantly, even if you call it professional work, you get tired. That's why today in many developed countries, in the hospitals, many nurses and doctors are suffering from emotional fatigue and compassion fatigue. Professionally, they are highly trained. So in the beginning, they look smart, dress themselves nicely, and then quite efficient. They know all the things, very good in writing, everything looks very good, but they have to, day after day, they have to work with very ill people, very sick people, and some of them also very, very, very disturbing, They might even hit you on your face because they are mentally not stable. So when you encounter all these problems day after day, and the only thing you have is your professional training, but you don't have the compassion, don't have love, then you get emotional fatigue. Then you suffer from compassion fatigue. Once I was asked this question by somebody about this. Then I answered by saying, I think the emotional fatigue or compassion fatigue can be removed by undergoing some meditation where you train yourself in developing compassion and to be more empathetic, right? And I give the example, for example, look at the mothers who look after their kids. It's not an easy job. I don't think it's an easy job. It's very challenging. First of all, they carry that baby in their womb for 9 months. Not easy. Then after that, in the next 3-4 years, the child is really unable to do anything for itself. So the mother has to day and night look after it, right? But I have not met many mothers who is suffering from emotional fatigue or compassion fatigue. But because they are not professionally trained, but they have this genuine love. Alloyed it may be, there is a mixture of attachment, but they have genuine love to their children. They are not expecting anything from their children. So in that sense, it's pure love. Because of this, they don't feel tired. I mean, not to the extent of suffering from emotional fatigue. And I've met mothers who, despite working so hard for their children, they are heartily complaining. They're always talking good things about their kids. My kid now started talking. My kid now started running. My kid, started, ABCD, whatever, they say all the good things and they feel so happy. So the point that I'm trying to make is, like this, as much as possible, if you develop some kind of loving kindness and compassion towards everybody, then it will become very easy for you to contact, make relationship with anybody without getting yourself into trouble. In ordinary life, even when you say, I love you so much, there's a very common phrase that we use, I love you so much. But that ordinary love, I think, is full of attachment. And you are actually saying, I love you so much, so long as you love me. So I call that business love. In Buddhism, we don't teach business love. We teach genuine love, unconditional love. Whether you love me or not, I love you. Because I know you are like me, wanting happiness and not wanting suffering. All right. So I think that's all about the Four Seals. So I'll stop here, and if there are some questions.
Thank you so much, Geshe, for your beautiful words. I think actually every sentence you spoke is worth pondering on, and is worth even maybe even to put on a calendar and have one for every day to think about. So thank you very much for that. That was very rich. We can chew on that for some time. Bite what you can chew, Gelek Rinpoche used to say. So you gave us a lot to bite for the coming days. Still, there are some questions in the chat. I think we start with that first.
Okay.
One is, let's start with that one. Please, Geshe, is there a relationship between impermanence and interdependence?
Yeah, very close relationship. Because when we talk about impermanence, as I already explained, impermanence means things arise by depending on causes and conditions. So interdependence also means things dependent on causes and conditions. Therefore, you become interdependent. But in terms of explanation of interdependence, there are different Buddhist philosophical schools. The first two schools of Buddhism, they talk about in interdependence, primarily in terms of depending on causes and conditions. Then the mind-only school and the Madhyamika school, when they talk about interdependence, they talk about it not only in terms of cause and condition, they also say cause and condition, but not only that. Interdependence also in terms of mental designations. Like, for example, the permanent phenomena. Permanent phenomena are not dependent on causes and conditions, but they are dependent on mental projection, mental designation. So many of these abstract phenomena, like for example, I think emptiness or whiteness, these are in English grammar also we call them abstract known, right? Abstract qualities. So these are mental projections. So they are permanent, not dependent on causes and conditions. So mental projection. So interdependence in terms of cause and condition, interdependence in terms of the mind which gives the designation, interdependence in terms of the part dependent on the whole dependent on the part. So there are primarily three types of interdependence. Okay.
Now, another question was, please, can you give some advice on how to deal with an overkill in information? Now, I presume this person is not asking the question because he or she feels overloaded by everything we heard this afternoon. But in general, we get an overload of information in the modern society, especially by the internet. So maybe you could reflect on that, how to deal with an overkill of information.
Yeah, true. Good question. So I have a very good answer. The very good answer is, if you are thirsty, you need to drink water, right? But no need to drink the whole ocean. And you can't drink the whole ocean. And there's no need also. So therefore, it is not what you read, but what you learn that makes you learn it. Right? And you are absolutely right that today there is an overload of information. And unless you be a little bit, choosy, much of the information is junk information. And the Buddha said, that never make your mind a dustbin. Your mind is not a junkyard. So therefore, no need to read everything. No need to, go after all the all that comes on the computer, screen and things like that. So the problem today is there is information, no knowledge. Even in the case of people who have the knowledge, they don't have the wisdom. So we must develop and get the right wisdom, and so that you're able to deal with different problems. So what you're learning is not useful for dealing with the problems, then no need to go after that. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I go to the next question. If we want to find the inner happiness, should we change more parts of our life in the outer material world, like spending more time on meditation?
Absolutely, absolutely. As I said, that's the only way to go within oneself. So basically saying, be more with yourself than with the external world. Right? Much of the problem, including loneliness, depression that we are facing, is because we are always running after other people, expecting their love, expecting their relationship, expecting their connectivity, and you never remain in touch with yourself. And all the modern technological inventions are means to contact other people, not yourself. You don't use mobile to call yourself. That is for others. Your internet is to connect others. So the only way and the most important way to make you connect with yourself is meditation, inner reflection. So the most important thing is be with yourself before you be with others. Be compassionate to yourself before you are compassionate to others. Right? So it's really, really important to constantly keep in touch with yourself, understand your emotion, your needs, and get rid of the negative emotions and enrich yourself with the positive emotions. That is a sure way to happiness. Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Well, the last remark I see in the chat is that somebody really would like to share the recording of this teaching with his brothers. And I presume there are more people here who would like to review the recording or share it with other people. I also presume that is okay, but please confirm, Geshe.
Yeah, you please, of course you can share it.
Yeah.
And if it's possible, also send me a copy so that I can share it with others also. Yeah.
We will definitely do that. Yeah. But I don't see any more questions in the chat. So, well, I guess this is the end of our meeting then. And in that case, I think this is the right moment for me to thank you from the deepest of my heart, Geshe, for spending your time with us on this Sunday afternoon. To me, it feels like time very well spent. As I said, I will need some time to digest everything you said. At the same time, the teachings you gave, Gelek Rinpoche shared the same points with us many times too, but somehow we need this wake-up call again and again. We are not quite awake yet. So thank you very much for your patience and for waking us up again. Also, on behalf of the team that coordinates the Dharma activities in Jewel Heart, I would like to request you to please come back at some time in the future and teach us again, if you would please. We would very much appreciate that. We need your wake-up calls. Please do.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Oké. Tegen de vrienden en vriendinnen van Jewel Heart zou ik willen zeggen, ja, nog een hele fijne zondag. Ik wens iedereen heel veel inspiratie en succes met het aan de slag gaan met alle mooie dingen die wij vanmiddag hebben gehoord. De organisatie gaat vast en zeker zorgen dat deze mooie opname, dat die wordt gedeeld, dat er een link komt. En ik kijk er ook naar uit dat er snel weer een moment komt dat we elkaar ook weer live kunnen zien op het Jewel Heart Centrum. Ja, helaas moeten we daar eventjes wat terughoudend in zijn voor nu. En gebruik maken van de technologie. Het is eventjes niet anders. Nogmaals, ik wens iedereen een hele fijne zondag en verder ook alle goeds. Dank jullie wel. Thank you very much, everybody.
Eindigen, Marion, we eindigen met de 4 onmeestelijkheden nog even.
Ja, dankjewel.
The 4 immeasurables at the end. Michiel, kun jij even dan de tekst op het scherm zetten? Even naar beneden. Even, ja, dankjewel. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachment and hatred. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachment and hatred. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachment and hatred. Thank you, Geshe Lhakdor.
Thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
very much.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.